Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the number one podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood flooring, and sawmill industry. I'm your host, Steve from Acres of Timber. Each week, we feature various wood business owners and entrepreneurs from around the globe. We share their stories, paths, insights so that you can network, learn, and grow your own wood business. Thank you so much for listening. Now enjoy the episode. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. As your host, Steve Largelier. Today's guest is Ty Hardy from AG Designs. How you doing, Ty?
Good, Steve. How are you doing, man?
Good, thank you. Hey, why don't you tell everybody about AG Designs? What do you guys do?
We do, when people come in and ask what we do, I pretty much say if it involves wood, we will do it for you. We are a custom woodworking shop. We do everything from furniture pieces to full millwork. Kitchen cabinetry, closets, vanities, everything and anything in between, pretty much.
Cool, very cool. And how long you been at the company?
I've been here for about 5 years now.
Cool. How did the business get its start?
It started with our owner. He was a firefighter at the time, and he was looking for some other things to do. So he got a hold of somebody who said, "Hey, I'm starting to take down some barns. Do you want to help me out?" And so he basically went to this barn takedown and saw all this beautiful material that was, going to be going elsewhere, and saw a market for using this material to make reclaimed furniture. And that's really how he progressed into what we're doing now. So it basically started as a bit of a passion on taking this material and repurposing it, and then he started to get clients. Back in 2008, 2009, when he started, he was advertising his reclaimed hemlock tables from barnboard material on Kijiji, and it just was word of mouth from there, and it grew and it grew. And the way that the team worked was pretty natural on supply and demand sort of thing. As he got busier, he needed to bring someone else on, and so on and so forth. But it kind of started from a passion, and the first employee he brought on was Mark, who's still with us today. And he's a cabinet maker by trade, and he said one day, "Hey, why don't we do kitchens?" And Adam said, "I don't know. I've never really thought about it." He said, "Is that something you want to do?" And Mark said, "Yeah." He said, "All right, well, hold on to your seat. Let's start to do some kitchens." So, like I said, it kind of progressed naturally from a passion that he had, and as we grew our team members, their passions kind of evolved the business as well.
That's awesome. And tell us a little bit about your background. How'd you become shop manager at AG Designs?
Yeah, absolutely. I was friends with a friend of the owner, and it was one of those natural times for the business where he needed someone to be a little bit more on site and keeping an eye on the shop floor and installs and so on and so forth, because it was becoming busier and busier. I was run down at where I was at my current position, and my friend said, "I've got a guy who might be good for this position." So myself and Adam met up one day and hit it off right away. And by the end of it, it was, "I'd like you to start this day," and I would also like to start that day. And it just everything's just progressed so naturally with everyone we bring on here. It's we look for the right people to fulfill these positions that come up as we grow as a company. So it worked out quite well, and I've been here ever since.
How many employees do you guys have?
We have 9 in total now.
That's great. So, at what point, what employee number were you when they brought you on as shop manager?
I was employee number, I would have been number 3 at that point.
Okay. And so with you in the last 6 years, you added 6 more employees.
That's correct.
Okay. Talk to me about where businesses need to be in order to bring on a shop manager.
Yeah, great question. A really good question. It seemed to be when we started to make that progression from doing custom furniture pieces to the full millwork installs and full millwork packages for people.
Yeah.
When you start to have a number of jobs on the go at once, and you need people in the right positions on the shop floor. That is, I feel like someone like a shop manager needs to come in. We had Mark at one point who was, he's a cabinet maker by trade, and he, before I came in, was ordering material, keeping a track of which clients' jobs are due when. And, while he did a fantastic job, that's not where he was best suited for the company. We want him on the tools because that's his skill set. So when it came to the cost analysis of keeping him on the tools versus all the other managing aspects that he was doing at that point with the 2 employees, it made financial sense to bring someone else in to alleviate that pressure and to be able to put more material out there and take on more jobs.
So, as a shop manager, what is your ultimate, like? Give me a sense of your responsibilities. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I like to say to everyone that's here that I'm pretty much their gopher when it comes to what they need. So if the install crew needs something, I'm out there handling that. If materials need to be ordered, I'm out handling that. I'm the liaison between our shop floor and our interior design team to make sure that the realities of what can be made in a shop are being portrayed to the clients that they're being shown, all the way down to scheduling with clients and invoicing, doing everything in between.
Um, what's the most challenging aspect of your job?
Probably managing expectations. To be honest, is a really
Internally or
tough one.
externally?
Externally, I would say. I think a lot of people, and I mean the age that we're living in now is that I think a lot of people think they can take on larger projects themselves, meaning homeowners or clients, and we're seeing a lot of GCs not getting jobs, thinking they can manage it themselves. So when a project doesn't run smoothly, a lot of times people are trying to maybe point a finger or understand why don't we have our vanity yet? And well, your plumbing's not roughed in, so we can't really make that vanity until we do a site measure and so on. So it's trying to paint a realistic expectation for people, and a lot of times that's delivering some bad news to people.
Yeah, and
And
you are that person.
100%.
Ah,
Yeah. So I get the best of both worlds for sure.
that's fascinating. And so, I mean, I've never really you're the first shop manager. I actually did have a shop manager on a couple weeks ago, but I guess my question to you is the difference between you and the owner. I just want to understand that because like what it sounds like: client communication, handling project from start to finish, making sure that people are well resourced, have what they need, a little bit of HR, right? Hiring, managing personalities, managing deadlines.
Yeah.
That it's a pretty and then who do, talk to me about the other departments outside of that. Like, so you said that you have a design team. They work design, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
we've got an interior design team. We've recently kind of branched off of one company, and we've got 2 sister companies working right now. They're called Interiors by AG, and
Hmm.
so they're doing mainly the interior design aspect, and we're working with them to kind of fill our hopper down on the shop floor with projects and so on. But sometimes those projects don't come to fruition. They people just want interior design and they want to leave it at that and hire someone else to maybe do the millwork or they're going to do it themselves, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So there's that design, there's that crew, and then there's obviously our owner who works closely with the interior design team. Um, One of the designers that we have does all of our pricing and so on. So he works
So
closely
he's
with us.
probably doing the most of the selling and then working with the designers to sell the vision, and then once it's sold, it's kicked off to you, and then you make that happen.
100%, exactly.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, 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 yeah. And Did you feel that like when you were employee number three that that was like the perfect time? Because then you helped give him the breathing room to focus on selling. And then I'm assuming that employee number three, you and him were still probably making too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I'm still on the tools. I'd say maybe like let's call it 10%, 20% of the time. And
That's
again,
not
it's just
bad. That's not
yeah,
bad, right?
it's
It
such
still
a
keeps
good
you
balance.
excited, right, about making,
Exactly,
and
keeps
you're
me in the
not
loop.
that far away from the end product, right? So you can get your hands on. Yeah.
Exactly, and I can understand some of their challenges that they have on site working with
Kind of
certain
sounds like a fun
materials.
job. It's challenging, but it sounds like a fun job.
It's the ultimate. I'm not going anywhere
That's
for a
so
long time,
cool. That's so
whether he
cool.
likes it or not.
That's so
um,
cool.
yeah, so that's kind of where that sits, really.
Okay. Okay. So talk to me about a time that you had a crazy gnarly project and like how'd you sort of navigate that?
Yeah, we just got off a crazy gnarly project. It was it's a very large home, and everything was custom to the
And do you
nines.
mainly do residential or do you do commercial as well?
We mainly do residential. We've done commercial. We've done a few kitchens. We got not kitchens, restaurants. We've done a few restaurants. We've got another restaurant coming up in the future. We did a hotel recently as well. Um,
And I know I just asked you a question, but I'm like very curious. Is it hard to switch between residential builds and commercial builds, or is it like can shops like it's essentially the same process but just, different application?
it's essentially we try to stay the same process as much as we can
Yeah.
because if we change it, it just goes off the rails.
Yeah.
So we try to keep it as similar as possible. The only thing that changes with commercial is obviously materials used and the durability, wearability, and stuff like that. We need to
Hmm.
keep the design aspect in check with that to make sure that what they're designing is going to last 15, 20, 30 years, whatever it is, until they decide to make a change because there's that many more people using it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fascinating. Um, where do you guys see yourselves going in the future?
Um, we see ourselves as growing as a millwork company. We definitely have
More
seen the.
kitchens?
Pardon me.
Like more kitchens or like
We would ideally, when we price a job, we want the whole home. We want to work with custom home builders, which we've
hmm
done a lot in the past. We want to do your vanity. We want to do all your vanities. We want to do your closets. We want to do your kitchen and pantry and mudroom and all that. We want to be your one-stop shop. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's a great need for people who don't want to deal with 10, 12 contractors in their home at once. It's
Yeah.
more of a one-stop shop, all the way down to, hey, now you're moved in and you want a new a new dining room table, and you want a hutch beside your sofa. Let's do all that at the same time.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, that's fascinating. Um, what and how's this year been for you guys?
this year's been nutty for sure. We have focused on getting those full millwork packages, and we're just finishing up house number three, where we've done everything in the house with regards to the
Mm.
millwork. So, you know, dreams are coming in reality in that sense, and getting
Yeah, yeah,
those
yeah.
and working with some builders and creating those synergies with them as well. Getting them to see the value of only having one person in on the job site that's
Doing
doing all
everything.
these things. Yeah, exactly.
How do you get most of your clients?
Um, Word of mouth, to be honest, we do very little advertising.
Hmm.
We pulled the trigger kind of when you know COVID came and did this. I know it's a main topic to talk about when things went wrong at COVID. But COVID we're coming off the back end of that, and things were quieter. We had a month or two of open space in the calendar, so we put an ad in a local magazine, and
Hmm.
then before the ad even made it out, those 2 months were booked up again, just through word of mouth
Wow.
and our Instagram as well. We've got a great following on Instagram, in our opinion, and we're really trying to hone in on that to make sure that our products are out there and being seen.
Do you work mainly with interior designers, decorators, and GCs, or do you get people like that are direct homeowners that are?
We get Yeah, we get direct homeowners that come in. We have a lot of people that just knock on the door. Our Google Maps profile is searched more than anything just to find out where we are, and they come and want to knock on the door and see a showroom and touch and feel. And up in our space where they meet with our interior design team, we have a window that looks down onto our shop, and you can always feel people up there looking down at the shop because they're seeing where the stuff's being made, and
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting to them, and that's where it gets real. Like I can meet the people that are going to be making this stuff for me, and I can customize it down to the minute detail if possible, and make that a personal connection rather than a business connection.
So cool. So cool. Awesome. Well, this is a part of the podcast where I give you any marketing or business advice. Is there anything that you need to think through or a challenge that you guys are having that I can help you with?
Well, I definitely I wrote down a few things here. So on the marketing aspect, I mean, like I said, you asked me the question on how we do most of our marketing, and it is word of mouth and through Instagram and so on. Do you see any more avenues of social media becoming more prominent for marketing this type of business, or are you finding it's kind of plateaued on the social marketing aspect, social media?
No, I mean, I'm looking at your stuff and it's really beautiful and I could see why people would work with you because the finished product is like amazingly staged. And so um and it really showcases the craftsmanship. I am still a I'm a very big believer in going behind the scenes. And right now, all I see is like front of the house work, and I would love to see back of the house work.
Cool.
You have 9 people. There's you. I'd love to, if I go to your Instagram account or your Facebook account, I'd love to see what project you're working on. I would love to see like the install team installing pictures, selfies with clients, right? Like
Cool.
I'm sure that there's a world where people truly love you because you're creating the home of their dreams. And I'd love to see a little bit more of that interaction between like what you guys are building and who you're building it for. Because the
Yeah.
houses that you're building for are incredible. And so imagine a video walkthrough of the house where you're saying, okay, we did this, and this is what we did. And like you can like take a piece like a 20-minute walkthrough of a house and that literally could be 30 to 60 pieces of micro pieces of content because you
Totally.
do so much. And I think you're doing yourself a disservice by not talking through it a little bit more. That's the first thing. The second thing is um, I love the idea of helping people understand the breadth of what you do and how to approach working with you. And so lots of times there are people that like having a vision for like a new kitchen build out and or mudroom cubbies or entryways or whatever. But like if you actually educate them on like how to work with you, it can it can help demystify and break down the barrier to helping people reach out. And then you're like, okay, most people work with us with the designer. Here's the benefit of working with the designer. We also have a design team in house that
Yeah.
can help you bring your thing to life. This is so and so. This is what they do. I'm the shop manager. This is, like so what
Yeah.
the first thing you do is like contact us with the vision. If you don't have a design, you're going to need a design. And like if you want to make it easy to work with us, take your measurements, right? Like and this is how you did like you literally walk people through the steps because they're making a crazy ass investment to work with you,
Yeah.
and it's going to be the one of the biggest purchases of their life aside from the house that they're building.
Yep.
And so like you want to like show the seriousness of this, but also educate them. And if you strictly just created content on educating them, like I believe, and it's of value, and you boosted those posts locally, and you just had like three or four posts that are just boost organically, and you just spent $300 to $400 a month in your local area, an hour or two. Do you go as far as 2 to 3 hours away from you?
Yeah, that's pretty much our max. Yeah.
Okay, so 3 hours within all of your direction, you can actually boost that onto Facebook and Instagram, and then
Yep.
you just have them directly go to a request a quote page. Boom, that would be it. Like you would
Nice.
have so many leads that your owner could follow up on so easily. But you just have to create the type of content that educates people so that they feel like, oh, this is it's kind of like in a weird way, it's kind of like when you drive on the highway and you see the accident injury attorneys, they're like constantly always there, or the real estate agent.
Yeah.
But if you follow a real estate agent, a good real estate agent, they're going to say, before you talk to me, make sure that you're pre-approved. Make sure that you have a budget in mind. Make sure it's literally the same thing. It's
Yep.
like, make sure that you have a design. Make sure that you have a budget in mind. Oh, you don't have budget? Or you don't have an idea? Like, where are you going to pull this money from? Your 401k, you're this, you're that, right? Like
Yep.
you're going to take out a home equity line of credit. Like, this is how normally people pay for this sort of stuff, right? And like, you can walk people through that whole entire process and demystify, because it's intimidating.
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't it intimidating? People get so overwhelmed and they don't even know how to make decisions,
Yep. Yeah,
right? And
they're literally turning to other people to say, make this decision for me because I don't want to do that.
exactly. And if you can walk them through the steps that say, okay, this and this, and then I bet you your interior designers are so good that they can look at the style and personality of the person and decide on what is best for them,
Yeah.
right? And oftentimes when you get change of orders and this sort of stuff, is because either your designers didn't, accurately read the person, or the person doesn't accurately know themselves and they're a wishy-washy person. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you can break that down and like literally interview everybody on your team to say like what makes everything possible, create content out of that. Like I want to see an AG Design Co. like friggin' YouTube channel
Yeah. Yeah.
where your material comes from, all of that sort of stuff. So like
Yep.
that to me is like super important, and I feel like that could be a very very helpful thing, because if you're making money already, I already know that you're a seven-figure company. I already know, right? Like I know that if you are strictly making money from word of mouth, if you added 10-20% of storytelling, you'd have the money, you'd have endless amount of referrals.
Yeah.
Because people before, I bet you more people, you get people that get referred to you that don't even contact you and follow through. But
Yep.
if you had people that followed through and you were educating them, they'd be sold before you even give them a quote. And that's
Yeah.
where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Is that helpful?
Huge. Huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
Very,
I'm
very
glad.
much appreciate it. I appreciate the
Yeah, no,
honesty
that,
and
that
all
I
that
mean,
too. That's
like your
sick.
stuff is so beautiful. I want to see the video behind it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I want to see the walk in, and I want to see somebody's hand as they open up a cabinet. And
Yeah.
then you're pointing out like all of the craftsmanship. Oh, this wood came from here and this, and like, oh, Tommy built this with his hands, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what I want to see.
And then they're
Um,
developing that personal connection with the other video that introduces the cabinet maker, the furniture maker.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the next level. Not enough people spend enough time thinking about that stuff because they're busy in the work. But if you just pause for a moment and just said, okay, what stories are we going to tell with this project?
Yep.
And then you could literally do the same thing with with um with with your hospitality and your commercial stuff, man, even if you went back and if because I'm sure as the shop manager, you're pretty much the guy with the phone recording stuff, right?
No, we've got a bunch of people that do it. Like our owner will do some stuff. I don't do any of the Instagram stuff. I'm completely hands off with social media.
So if you had some intention behind it, I bet you your hospitality division could probably triple
Yeah,
if you recorded the process, recorded the finish, and then you recorded the client or the GC saying, AG Design Co. was incredible to work with. And then you package that and you sent that to every one of those competitors.
yeah,
And you just followed up. Like once a month, you're definitely going to get a request for proposal.
amazing. I love
Cool.
it. I'm very excited
Cool.
about that.
Yeah, I'll recap this for you and I'll follow up so you could share it with the owner.
Fantastic. I truly
Cool.
appreciate it, Steve.
Any last bit of parting advice for folks that are on the fringe of overwhelm and are looking for a shop manager? Like what do you think that would be?
If you're overwhelmed and you are on the brink, get someone to help you out, right? Even
Yeah.
if it doesn't make sense. When I started, I wasn't shop manager full time. I was probably started off 70-30, 70% on tools, 30% managing stuff. And like I
Yeah.
said before, I'm maybe 20% now, maybe 10 some weeks on tools. Those roles can evolve, they can change, but if you're overwhelmed, you're not probably enjoying it anymore. And you got to get back to the enjoyment stage so you can have some fun, make some money.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ty, for your time. I look forward to getting your story out. Thanks again.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it, man.
All right.